What's up, y'all? It's De'Viar,
What's up, y'all? It's Jasmine.
and welcome to Stories of the Streets.
As always, Stories of the Streets is sponsored by the New Black Collective, Change Waco, Black Scent, and Rogue Media Network.
And this week, we're back with another special guest for you guys, Mr. Jordonn. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Jordonn Caldwell.
Thank you for coming on, of course.
Thank you.
Y'all don't know who Jordonn is. Jordonn is like this kind of not uprising, but up and coming like videographer here in Waco. He shoots a lot of music videos and stuff for a lot of our like newer talent that's still trying to break into the mainstream mode. So I guess I'm gonna start with that. Like, what kind of inspired you to get into videography and stuff like that?
That's a good question. So honestly, this is not something I wanted to do all my life. As you know, I started doing YouTube videos back in high school, and I think over time I kind of grew up, and I just lost the interest in for it. The pranks all the time, and just the jokes and everything. I kind of wanted to go a little bit more serious and make some real money. So I quit doing that, and I met a couple friends that did music, and they just needed music videos, but there was no one in Waco to shoot them. So I got my little camera. I think it was like a T5i or something like that. And we just started shooting. And then over time, and they were for free. And then over time, I shot more and more. And basically, I took the skills that I've gained from editing from those YouTube videos, and then I put them towards music videos, which is why my music videos look a little bit more different and not as like cinematic and stuff. It's very like cartoonish because I put those same cartoonish effects and visionary towards YouTube that I do with my music videos. So now that's what I do full time. I know how to do it. It's fun, and I can give artists and different creatives a platform and a resource to promote their music. So yeah,
That makes sense. That's really cool. That's really dope. Like transition from going from YouTube to kind of just doing music videos full time.
yeah,
And I like the community aspect of it because I went to the Class A Vintage Goods like second year anniversary little celebration that they had last night. And one big thing Diorian was talking about was how he wanted to create this space for stuff like that for different artists to come on and kind of like get more attention and get more known.
right.
And that's a beautiful thing. I think I like that when people get to a certain place and they want to kind of turn back in a sense and to say, hey, let's do more together and just kind of push for it together. I like that.
Right.
You said you did. How long did you do YouTube for? Like you just did it in high school, right?
I did it so I came to Waco when freshman year, and I started it freshman. I did it for about 4 years, and I think I stopped doing it around 2018, and then I started doing videography around like 2019.
Got you.
Yeah.
Do you trying to break into movies and stuff like that? Like
Yes,
is that
no,
yeah.
That's like my main goal.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm like that's what I want to do. I want to do movies like 100%.
Got you. Do you have like, since you want to do movies, from going from YouTube and music videos and stuff like that, do you have a like kind of direct inspiration, like anybody that's just in the business or was in the business that kind of just inspired you to want to do movies?
I wouldn't say a director inspires me to do movies. I'd say a videographer that inspired me is definitely Cole Bennett.
Okay, yeah, I like
That.
Cool. Cool.
I know all credit. Yeah.
Cool.
He definitely paved the way for like people like me to not feel uncomfortable with wanting to do everything or wanting to do things a different way. So it just makes, he has like the blueprint, so it's a lot easier for me to do what I want to do, because I do have like a lot of skill sets, and I thought I had to sacrifice some of them for an image, but I don't have to do that. So I don't really have like a director that inspires me. I mean, I have a favorite. I like Tim Burton. He's my favorite. Yeah.
That's cool. No, I can definitely, that makes more sense because looking at your work, you really do have kind of a more distinct like visual flair. Like every video I've ever seen from you have some kind of just mind like blowing visuals. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like this is insane. Like this is crazy. This is cool.
Weird.
But yeah, no, because that makes sense. Because Cole Bennett is also somebody who's super visual.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like I like some of my favorite movies in recent memory have been just the ones that just come up with crazy, insane visuals. Like I like Dune that just came out long ago. Dune has some really realistic looking like visuals. I like that. Like, I like when movies can kind of shorten the line between reality and like
exactly. Yeah.
And I think one of the questions that we also had is, since you're an artist, do you incorporate any type of activism or any messages when you're working?
Yes, all the time. So I mean, ask me something specific along the lines, and I'll tell you.
You can pretty much tell us whatever you want, because I was just curious because we were looking at your Instagram and we were just like, okay, like, is there any activism, or do you work, I guess more specifically when you're filming with a certain artist or whatever, how do y'all incorporate the messages that they want to convey or any activism that they're doing?
Okay, perfect. So recently I did a music video with Richie, great friend. He's a really good artist. He's like a Latino American artist. And he had a song that was about depression, anxiety, and going through, problems. Right. So in the music video, he had brought alcohol, and he was like, I want to like relay a message of like, basically I'm going through something. And in the music video, he's drinking and stuff, and he's like, I kind of edited the music video to make it have this dark void visuals to make it look like he was drunk or something. So when I was editing it, I was like, I don't really want to like keep it just like that. I want to put something behind it. I want everything that I create to have some type of message or positive impact. So then I said, hey, bro, instead of just like I was telling you in the car, like just posting it, let's put something behind it in regards to awareness. So at the end of the music video, you'll see like I put the number to the drugs and alcohol
hotline.
Yeah, hotline, and I also put like a little message there stating, if you're going through anything, everybody goes through depression, blah blah blah. You can contact this number. You never want to resort to drugs and alcohol to deal with your problems, because it can only lead to bigger problems and also hurting someone else around you. So that's one way of doing it. Small conversations that I'll have with my friends. I've tried to push them, because when I first met them, they made a lot of music that were just music. And I told them, I said, bro, there's a lot of artists that just make music. Yeah. I strongly recommend you guys to start making music that have some type of message, whether that be something backing behind religiously or spiritually how you see the world, making an impact. There's a lot of problems going on in the world right now. Your voice is a tool. Your voice is a superpower, and it shouldn't just be used for you or just for fun. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them change their music over time, and it's not necessarily because I tell them to, but it's more of they're maturing.
Yeah, the growth.
It's like I just planted the seed there, and it's like you choose what you want to do with that music, and they've matured, greatly in that field of music. Different people have their own journeys and stuff, whether that be drugs and alcohol, whether that be going through racism, whether that be spirituality. It just really just depends, and I try my best to help them with their path individually, because I kind of went through all of those things. So, yeah, as a big, like a big scale of your response, I'll give you that.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were wondering, and then another question I had, with your work, do you see yourself doing any community involvement? I know you said some of the artists didn't have people to film them because they couldn't afford it or whatever the case was, but how do you plan to incorporate your gift into the community? Okay,
that's a good question. So recently I created, when I first started this videography business, I didn't really have, it was just a business. I was just shooting videos for artists. I tried to branch out and work with people in Waco. It was just really hard, and I don't think people really took me as serious as I wanted them to at the time. So I kind of distanced myself and started trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do music as well around the time, which I stopped doing. But I distanced myself, and I needed to find myself and figure out what I really wanted to do. Now I'm at that time where I know what I want to do. I have a really good circle around me. I created this brand called Unreal Imaginations, and Unreal Imaginations is not me. So I was used to just being me, my camera, my stuff, doing this for me, my money. Well, now it's kind of like a community organization that I created in Waco, to where it's a tree, and it branches out in many different creative avenues to welcome everyone. So that's why I started throwing the events. Obviously, it has videography. There's also art, poetry, and we have the Instagram, to where I post all the artists. I post pretty much anyone, and I just started this back in the summertime, so it had been like 4 or 5 months ago. But we're gonna also do merch and stuff. I also included instead of just being me, there's another friend of mine named We Win, or It's We Win Visuals. He used to have his own videography company, but I wanted him to like kind of be with me inside of it. So, and he's always wanted to, he just didn't know how to ask me, but basically now there's 2 directors in it. And then Anthony DeLeon, yeah. He's a producer. He's also in Unreal Imagination. He helps me run everything and just look at everything from a more business aspect. So I say all that to say, basically, instead of it just being me, I created this organization to where I want to literally give back. That's what I want to do. And I think that's what runs me. That's my passion, is to help people in the best way possible. And the only way to do that is to not necessarily conform, but compromise many things that I know I can do, and try to branch out to different people. Like I said, the events, the clothes, the music. I want to do food drives in the summertime. Also create movies and stuff like that. I want to do all of those things. And that's another thing. My content, I try to keep it universal as possible for all ages. So if you see like my music videos or anything like that, or any of the clothes, if you see my logo, it's very cartoonish and stuff, because I have a very, as you see, like Unreal Imaginations, it's very welcoming. I have a welcoming image. So yeah, that's my community. It's growing right now. It's like a baby. We're still trying to work on the website and stuff. I feel like we kind of rushed into it with the whole the events and stuff, but I'm glad it happened, because it showed us like what we need to do and what we don't need to do. So yeah.
That makes sense. I remember when y'all first like came on the scene with Unreal Imaginations, and I had like an idea of what it was. I was like, okay, it's all of them working together, but I really didn't know what the true like kind of end goal was from that. So that's cool. That's a cool, yeah. And I know we too. Yeah. Well, I guess my like I'm a big movie person. I love movies.
Yeah.
So when you do eventually get into like making movies and stuff like that, is there a certain like genre or kind of just like space that you're trying to inhabit, or you just kind of just going with it as it like kind of, unfolds as time goes?
I think I've been trying to really think about the direction I want to go into. Definitely action. There's a lot of movies that inspire me, of course. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I love Spider-Man so much. But more specifically, I want to do like superhero movies. Like I want to make like realistically like Daredevil type movies.
It's really grounded and really just like here,
yeah. Because I want to edit in that field with the whole action and stuff. Like, it's just fun.
It seems like a lot of fun, and it seems like really exhausting. Like, it's like I keep up with a lot of it, so I hear about all the behind the scenes stuff and
it's a lot
how like people who are working in the visual departments for movies and stuff are working like OT like for days straight trying to get stuff like movies ready that are supposed to come out soon and stuff like that. But no, I do like the kind of spin on like the current superhero movie trend, where certain movies that come out like Joker or like certain Batman movies and stuff like that, where they're really grounded and they kind of have something to say, almost like they have kind of like a message added onto the superhero movie. It's not just a lot of action or noise.
Exactly.
It's just something you're getting something from it. So I like that. That's kind of cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
What are you working on now? What do you have coming down the pipeline next?
Okay, so right now I have a lot of I have like 4 music videos that I'm working on right now. I kind of want to get those done for the artists so they have something to fall back on when I do my event in March. That's the next one that we're doing. The first one we did was in September. The second one was I believe it was the end of October. Yeah, it was like on Halloween, I think. Around Halloween. Yeah. And then the next one I'm doing is going to be around spring break in March. So that's the one that I have a lot of, like Nadia, she's going to be Alyssa. I have like more people incorporated now instead of just being segregated. Yeah. So I like that. I'm going to have a lot of people helping me and a lot of people that I want to help as well and give an opportunity to showcase their work. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Any more questions?
I'm thinking. I'm like, all these questions. So, okay, I do have one more question. Okay. Going back to your community impact, you said that y'all wanted to, because I was going to ask about community outreach.
Yes.
So you said that y'all want to do food drives and things like that. Have you ever considered maybe creating a program for the youth where y'all are like apprentice type things like that?
Yes, 100%. Yes, I actually came up with that around the time when I first started my videography business, and I realized that I can like do more. 100%. I was having a conversation, with Jermaine. Yeah. I had a long conversation when I said we were over there by the McLennan school, the stadium, and I told him, I said, bro, I want to do like a school, but not like a school, but like a program to where I have a lot of skills. Jermaine has a lot of skills. A lot of my friends have a lot of skills where I feel personally that the school system doesn't really give children an opportunity to really find their creativity at a young age. Yeah. A lot of these kids find it through depression, anxiety, or, later on in their lives and don't even find out that they have a talent till later on. So I want to like create something to where like kids kind of have an opportunity to find what avenue that, best suits them early on. So in this program, of course I'd have, videography and then painting and then art. And I think that's really cool how like a lot of my friends have different branches of creativity, because eventually I do want them to be, sponsors of what I have going on. But I want it to be around elementary to like high school, but definitely middle school, to where these kids can, come to this, program and be able to have people like me and my friends to teach them, or, something real small painting, drawing, photography, videos, graphic design, all of that stuff. And then hopefully they can, have a career from things like that, even writing, poetry, all of that. So yes, I definitely want to do that 100%. That's like my biggest goal from the movies. Yeah. But yeah, that's one of the first things I wanted to do, because I do see a lot of kids and children, it does hurt, because, a lot of these kids have a lot of talent, but they can't show it, or they don't have the resources to show it, and it sucks, So yes, that's something I definitely want to do.
Yeah, and then like I asked because within my nonprofit, like we're actually working on developing a program that's more of like a STEM program for the kids, since we don't have access to that in Waco, really. Mm-hmm. We don't have access to STEM or the arts, and that's something that kind of annoys me.
It does.
But I asked that because I was wondering if anybody was, because we talked about it, because I'm really into art. Mm-hmm. And I always tell everybody, if we would have had an art school in Waco, I wouldn't have been in public school. That's where I would have been. Like developing my craft, and I feel like I would be like rich right now.
Right.
But I really want to connect with people who are kind of on the same wave. Like, everybody can't do every program. So that's one of the reasons why I ask, is because, a lot of us within my nonprofit are creators as well. And just if we would be able to not spearhead something, but volunteer our time to programs like that, because that is one of our goals, that would be great. But it's just like you said, a matter of planning and access to resources, and resources that aren't going to fail us, because you can get the resources, but that don't mean that people are going to come through. So just, finding things for the kids that are going to sustain, because that's one thing we've been working on, is sustainability. you can get the stuff and, of course, applying for grants now. They're like, how are you going to sustain this? And we were like, we never thought about this. Like,
yeah, it's deep. It's way deeper than what you think. Yeah.
And we're like, oh, we didn't even think about that. So how are we going to sustain these programs once we do get them into motion? So that's why I asked, because that's why this show is great. Learning what everybody has to pour into the community. And I'm really big on community outreach and giving back to the community in whatever ways we possibly can. Even if it's, something small or something that we feel like the kids don't have access to, even if it's just in the summertime. I feel like it will, make an impact on their lives. So I'm like, what questions do I have? But I think for me, the questions that I asked because I was like, a lot of people film, a lot of people, do music. And so it was important because I asked De'Viar, I was like, what about activism? And he was like, I don't know, we can ask. But I want to make sure, because like you said, like you told your friends, everything you do it with a purpose. And have a message with what you do. And so that's why I kind of asked the questions that I asked, even if they weren't like direct, like, some kind of way.
No, that's fair.
But I'm glad to know that, I know are you like 21, 20?
I just turned 22.
Okay.
In August.
So you're still fairly young. So you have the ability to impact a lot of people at your age.
100%.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like it's important, like, that you're telling the people that you work with, if you're going to work with me, then you have to grow.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, there's
Can't just stay stagnant.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that, try to work with me. I try to keep, I wouldn't say I'm exclusive, but I do treat my craft and my work like a baby, and I don't want to taint it, and I don't want people wasting my time. I'm trying to be more, I feel like I am a lot more grounded with my views and stuff like that. Yeah, I just can't do any type of video.
Yeah.
Right.
There's certain videos I won't do, and there's certain videos I will do. There's certain videos that, of course, that's why I call myself a director rather than like just a videographer, because videographers just shoot videos. I kind of like want to incorporate my own imagination or my own vision on the work so it can have a message. Because artists just come to me, hey, I want to make a music about a heartbreak. Okay, well, how can this heartbreak or this message help someone else that's going through something, instead of just coddling with your emotions? You know what I'm saying? Because after this song is done and 6 months pass, you're going to be, good with this heartbreak. But this message this work or this art that you created can help someone else. You know what I'm saying? So, no, 100%. That, like I said, helping people is what moves me. I can't just make work. It's boring.
No, and they go. I think that ties. I'm glad y'all brought I'm glad both of y'all brought that up, because it ties really to me. On top of all that, representation is super important, because there are people like in your age bracket and younger and stuff like that who, see you, or when you get your program and stuff started, they'll see that, and they kind of, they feel like they can do it too. It's a really big push that they might not be interested in stuff like that all the way, or someone's telling them that they shouldn't do it. And then like, speaking specifically for like, Black people, a lot of times we get pushed into sports or rap. Like it's like you could be.
I was gonna ask, are you ever gonna do trap rap, or we don't get that from you? We don't get trap music from you.
What do you mean?
Oh, like, anything
like trap music. Is that one of your genres, or does it have to have a message? Even if I don't even know what trap music is.
It's like
I haven't done. Ironically, I haven't gotten a music video that has been trap. A lot of my music. I mean, probably the closest one would have to be like Y2K and Edgar, but their music is like very funny. Like that's why I like incorporate a lot of like funny. Like he was talking about KFC when we drove to the KFC thing. He had like a bucket chicken. Like I wouldn't say we had like a strong like trap about killing anybody. I haven't. Had that
so that's never gonna come from you.
Yeah, if you're asking that, like just to be straight up, no, I don't really want to promote that. And it's a talk. That's a talk that I had with one of my friends. And with Jermaine. I am very inclusive with my work, and I don't want to promote, things of that nature. That's why I strongly try to recommend my artists to push towards something a little bit more cleaner, drugs and alcohol, etc. If there are drugs and alcohol, I want it to be more about awareness, not go and do them. Yeah. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people that have things to say like, oh, well, That's I don't really care because it's my art, it's my content, and I just, if I don't want to do something, I'm not gonna do it. There's too much of entertainment and not enough entertainment with a message behind it. And I know that's really different, but I mean, I like it. You know, kids in Waco, you know, a lot of people say, you know, oh, well, Waco has nothing. There's nothing in Waco. Well, and that's absolutely true. But I mean, at the same time, there's a lot of people that are trying to do something. And then there's a lot of those people that are doing it for the children. You know what I'm saying? And that, I think, honestly, that's really the only thing, because I feel like, you know, if you go to Houston or you go to Austin or you go to Cali, those kids have stuff. You know what I'm saying? Kids in Waco don't really have anything. So it's like, if I know that I can make an impact with the many gifts that I have, you know, to give the kids in Waco, instead of, you know, idle hands make mischief, you know, I want to try my best to give them something positive and also show them, hey, if you have a gift, if you have, you know, an art, you can use this, you know, you can use it to help people, and you can also make money doing it as well. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go and, you know, rob somebody or talk about this or talk about that in order to get to where you need to be. It's not worth it.
No, that's super admirable, especially for the artists that you do work with. I think it's more of a challenge to do something that's not the same as everybody else. Anybody can hop on a beat and just rap about women and like drugs and stuff like that. You can sit down and make up some stuff. There's some songs that's just the same lyric being repeated over and over, and it's just
I've turned down music videos. Like, I don't like, there was one that I could have done in it was a lot of money, but it was one in like a I didn't like the lyrics for one. It was very, very, you know what I'm saying? And it was in a strip club, and I turned that one down. I couldn't, it just doesn't sit with me the right way. That could be for someone else, but as for me, like I said, I'm trying to push my platform in a certain direction, and there's certain things I cannot do if I'm trying to, you know, inspire a crowd, you know?
You hit stuff like that hits a certain level of sameness. It's like I hate at the point in time where I felt like every rap video is at a gas station for some reason. I don't. Like gas station? Like,
I can't. Yeah, I don't.
I really miss the videos from like the 90s and 2000s where like almost
it was
every
actually
video
creative,
had a story.
Yes.
I love videos.
That's what I'm trying to do. Yes.
The first few music videos that I'm gonna tell you a story about this camera real quick.
Go ahead.
This camera is not mine. I didn't buy it. When I first in high school, I started dabbling with like editing videos and stuff like that, because we had there was a class that I took and they had Premiere Pro, and then we had like assignments, and then I just kind of started freeballing and using it whenever I wanted to because we had access to it. And I'm like, you know, I'm gonna go to miss whatever's class after school and be in there just, you know, editing videos and stuff, messing around. And so I ended up meeting this rapper here in Waco. He mentioned how he needed someone to shoot videos, and I kind of got into the same mode. I know how to shoot videos, I know how to edit videos, so I'll do it for you. And I really wanted to do more story-based videos. Like anytime he sent me a song, I'd be like, okay, like I'm listening to the song. This is the visuals that I'm seeing. This is what I'm kind of feeling. Like, you know, this is what I feel from the video. What do you think? And then it's kind of hard when the person you're working with doesn't really give you, you know, anything to work with. You have all these ideas. You're kind of inspired, and you're just like, you really want to shoot something that you visualize and that you love, and it just doesn't come to fold.
They didn't even think that deep into it. It's just like, oh, I just want to make music.
I want to make a music video. I think we did like 2 or 3 videos together before we really stopped. Like this kind of fell off. The first video, he didn't pay me for. I didn't ask to get paid for. I was like, you know, I don't really just do this professionally. Like I don't, you know, I'm not like just some perfect like you know, videographer director. So I'm like, I'm not going to charge you. But you know, we'll get to that point. We'll talk about, you know, payment and stuff later. So he's supposed to pay me for the subsequent videos that we did, but he didn't. And then when we stopped talking and stuff like that, I kind of just kept the camera because he never paid me.
When was this?
This is some years ago, a couple years now.
You when you were in high school?
No, I was out of high school. But yeah, this is probably like 2017, 2018, 2019, somewhere off in that range. But yeah, I missed the story videos. That's one thing that I like really wanted to do. When he had asked me to do it, I want to incorporate more of a story into it, just because it's different. Nobody's really doing that no more. Nobody kind of has, and I'm gonna say nobody, but a lot of the mainstream people that just get attention regularly, they don't really have a message to it all the time.
Right.
So I like that. I like that you're really adamant and like stand your ground. You're like, no, I'm not doing certain things I don't want to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like Waco's a like a sand pit. There's plenty for people like me and you to do, you know, because like I said, you know, if you go to Austin, you know, there's plenty of people with podcasts and you know what I'm saying?
It's like when I think about the world of creativity and stuff like that, I'm like, dang, it feels like we're running out of space. Like it feels like I'm like, you know, a new artist to pop on the scene or somebody be like, okay, I'm gonna try to break into music, and I like my initial thought sometimes like, dang, like, is there space for you? Like it's like, is there realistically room? But it's like when you think about it, yes, there's plenty
I
of
was
room.
gonna say I don't think that art can ever be oversaturated because
there's plenty.
No
of
matter
room.
how you try to imitate people, like I don't know how to. So like I paint and I draw.
Yeah.
I don't know realism. I've tried to practice it, but no matter what I do,
I
it
can't
comes
either.
out as a cartoon.
I can't either.
And I'm
Exactly.
like,
I can't draw it all. So
what
you got
in
me
the
beat.
and I've tried like literally my entire life
Yeah.
to draw realism, and it doesn't work for me. And it's like I can draw like fruit or like, you know, objects, but when it comes to people, my brain doesn't process us as realism.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
And it's kind of weird. So it's like
It's kind of cool though too.
it is,
Yeah.
but that's how you know that art can never be oversaturated because
Yeah.
no matter how you try to imitate something, you're never going to duplicate it the way that the first person did it because your brain
Exactly.
isn't wired
Yeah.
that way. And I had to learn that. And you can get inspiration because I'm like, oh, I see all of these black women that are painting because I taught myself how to paint and I just
Right.
watched them. But even when I tried to mimic what they did, I couldn't do it
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because my hands and my brain are different
Than theirs.
than theirs are. So it's like, you know, music, people steal all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
Mhm.
But as far as like, you know, art, like there's room for creativity in music as well. The thing about it is a lot of artists, music artists are lazy.
Yeah.
And so they
Mhm.
do go and
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, this is a sample. It's a sample. That doesn't mean that you need to plagiarize the entire thing. So
Yeah.
I feel like there is never a time where art would be oversaturated just because God gives us with individual gifts for a reason.
Yeah.
And even if we are, you know, studying other people, it's still your own. It's
Yeah.
going to end up your own. Because even with the people who are stealing songs,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like the original person.
That too,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna last in what they're doing. It's gonna be either a one hit wonder or they're never
Yeah,
going to break out
because
that
most
box.
of the times it's trash.
Yeah, exactly. And you could tell who's really
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
into it
imitators
and who's not.
and who's not. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
It becomes more apparent the more and more we go on because
Mhm.
you have so many people who just got like so much longevity. Just I think
Yes.
about like this different music artists that kind of can just kind of drop off in a sense and pop back up, and nobody ever just really stops messing with them because they're kind of the real artists. that really have. There's even people that's still trying to break through that have just like a real beautiful like love for the craft to them. And I've been seeing people on Twitter who like DJ and produce and stuff like that, and they take different songs and kind of mash them together, and it's like I would have never thought about doing. Like it's like there's a person who they took Lil Wayne's "A Milli" and they were able to break it down and show the original song that like Lil Wayne pulled from in order to make that. And I was like, I had no idea that he used a different song. From
I didn't either.
Like I remember saying that producers are super underrated. Like producers,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, 100%.
editing is such
hard.
a editing is a.
I tried it.
God.
I can't. I stopped doing it.
Oh my
I was about to
God.
say me too. Like I tried to use like what is it called,
GarageBand.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I don't want to be a producer. And it's really, but it's hard because you don't even realize these things are all layered.
Yeah.
And you got to snip and cut. And I'm like, this is a lot of work.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
And I think the thing people don't realize is like we said, people do sample, people do, you know, take inspiration from other people.
Yeah.
But there is that is a skill, and everybody does not have that skill. A lot of the times, because my family is like both sides, big on music.
Yeah.
And like that's what I grew up in. Before I knew anything, I knew music and drawing. And I'm able to like hear a song and I'm like, oh, that's a sample. And people are always like, how do you know that? I'm like, I'm going to go find the original song for you. That is a sample. And it's like, sometimes you can't pick it apart because they do it so well. But I'm like, no, I hear a chord that came from another song. And I think that this is this song.
Yeah. That's a gift.
And, and it's like everybody, that's why I said everybody has individual gifts. So there's never going to be any oversaturation. What it is people who don't have the gift of music or the gift of art are
bottling down.
They're coming into these things because it's cool and it's a trend, and it's like y'all are the ones messing it up for the rest of us, and it gets annoying.
Yeah, I was talking to that to my friend yesterday. I said, man, like we were just talking about that, like how like there's a lot of artists that are trying to replicate other artists, you know, whether it be SoundCloud artists or, you know, and honestly, it really is only like really the SoundCloud and like the little pumps,
trying to break through.
Yeah, because it's cool or it's fun or whatever, and just because they color their hair and talk about whatever and just find a beat that's music. I was like, they're not gonna last. They're gonna die out, and then you're gonna just have like the original artist there. And
what hurts with that is when they do last a little too long. Yeah. Because people just kind of egg them on, or they're kind of like doing stuff.
Or just a trend.
Media. Yeah, and they're just kind of like, oh, look at them being stupid again. Let's keep this person like, you know, relevant. And it's like, can we stop? Like,
it does suck for like real artists though.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It's so many artists, like even singers. I'm like,
they get overlooked.
Yeah, and people are always like, who are these people you're listening to? I'm like, the people that you should be listening to.
Yeah.
And they never get to mainstream because they hold their values and they're not willing to sell out about a lot of things, and they don't want people telling them how to create.
Right.
And so I think that what people forget is, you know, record deals and all of that stuff. It comes with a lot.
And
you kind of have to water yourself down, and the people who are real artists are not going to water themselves down. No real artist would. I'm not going to, you know, like, think about, like y'all said, like Lil Wayne and people like that. They stick to their creativity and they created their own avenues so that people don't have to tell them what to do. And so it's like, that's the thing is people, like I said, just regular people who should probably be on 9 to 5s. They're coming into these areas where people, you know, have the history of what they're doing and they have the knowledge of what they're doing, and they don't know anything, but because they're willing to be puppeteered, they get those spaces, and I'm just like, I don't even listen to rap anymore because I'm just like,
I'm saying,
no, thank you.
We're talking about rap artists on the way over here. We're talking about Cordae and his new album.
Yeah,
and I remember seeing this tweet, and it was they were talking about Cordae, Isaiah Rashad, and some other people. There's a couple other names. I think like J.I.D.
Yeah, he's cool.
They were just talking about, like, you know, because those people, there's people that listen to them and really love their music and kind of hype it up, and they talk about how good they are and how underrated they are. And the tweet was like, okay, these people wouldn't be underrated if I shared their music. Like, you know, put people on, you know, more stuff, because people, I don't know, I don't sit down and just seek out artists all the time. Like, I got to be in the mood to be like, okay, I don't listen to so and so a lot. Let me go like try their music and see if I can just like catch songs that I like. So I appreciate when people who are actually kind of in on how good that person is put people on. Like, you know, put us on some songs and stuff like that. Like, help get these people the exposure they deserve.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and I definitely think that like I said, I think I said it yesterday when we were recording. I said life imitates art, and art, you know, imitates life, and individuals will always have like a individual flair to add to whatever it is they're doing. So, I don't think art ever will get, you know, oversaturated or too busy. I think there'll always be room for different interpretations and different just like stories to tell. We just got to get all these people that don't know what they're doing out of here.
I mean, there's always going to be people that are going to be inspired. Like I told my friend last week, like I honestly feel like every artist, every creative is inspired by someone. But there comes a time that when you are inspired by this person, over time, your own personal problems and your own journey will mature until it becomes like it births something that's original, you know. And like when I first started, everyone was like, oh, be cool, Benny, but over time, like me doing my own thing and going through my own, you know, journey, my own logos, my own message, my own everything, I don't hear that anymore because they obviously see that there's something different there. Same thing with, you know, a lot of the artists that I think Richie, Bad Bunny, but it's like over time as he's maturing in his art and stuff, that's him. You know what I'm saying? So
people always link something to something they recognize.
That's what that's with anybody. But
when I think his name's Jesse was Suede when he was performing last night. My friend next to me was like, "He looks like The Weeknd." I was like, "No, he doesn't." I was like, "He looks like Jesse."
I heard that
Suede.
too. I heard that
but
too.
But I get it. Like I understand the comparisons, but I'm like, no, he doesn't. Like we got to stop doing that. We got to stop like comparing people to other people. We got to stop both in the positive way and the negative way. Like, you know, putting people against each other. Like, who's the better rapper, Nicki or Meg? Like, we don't need to do stuff like that all
two
the
different
time.
people.
Like, can we just enjoy what that individual person puts out?
Providing,
and not have to always butt heads and who's better than who. It's like, you know.
I feel like people just want to make an argument.
And with art, something else, too, that's just so crazy to me that we do stuff like that, put people against each other, is it's in the hands of who takes it in. Somebody can watch like an Oscar-winning movie and be like, "That's trash," but to like the people who gave it the Oscars, it can be perfect to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
that's
art,
so funny.
Like competitive. I've gotten away with the whole competitive thing with videography and art and stuff like that. I at first it was like on my head heavy, like competitions.
Yeah,
I don't care about it. I just stopped because it was ruining me.
I was about to say that's when you don't do well. Is when you compare yourself
to other people.
Because your work is your work. And back to the critics, a lot of people that are critiquing things, they don't have the space to do so. They don't have, like I said, they don't have the knowledge or the gift to do so. And like it's like when people say J. Cole is trash, and I'm like,
where you get that from? Yeah, where you get that
but
from?
like they'll say NBA YoungBoy is my favorite rapper, and I'm like,
where you get that from?
And it's so confusing but that tells a lot about the type of
character
society that we live in. And I'm like,
but then it gets more interesting for people like me, because like I don't hate NBA YoungBoy. I have songs from NBA YoungBoy downloaded because I think.
But would you ever say that he's better than J. Cole?
No,
exactly.
no.
And it's like that's the difference is you can, and that's the thing. It's not that you can't like one artist and the other. It's the aspect of the art.
Yeah.
I think that's why I stay out of debates with people, because I'm like, y'all don't even know music, so what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it's like when you're on a 1, 2, 3, 4 beat, like I hate those first of all, and it's like like it all starts off the same way versus you're like we said, you're working with an actual producer and you're creating things that could like last a lifetime. J. Cole is gonna be here when NBA YoungBoy is not, and our kids are gonna know who J. Cole is when they don't know, like, and so it's things like that, and it's just like it's so crazy. Like art is crazy, but no matter what, we'll always have art. That's why I say it can be oversaturated, because you have to think about just us, where we come from. If we didn't have art, we wouldn't have made it through a lot of our ancestors wouldn't have made it through a lot of the things that they made it through. So it's
we set
like
the tone for a lot of stuff.
With
my mom, people were like, black people helped create rock and roll. Like, I didn't know that.
Like, they did. Blues
what is her
and stuff.
name? Big Mama Thornton. I think that's her name. And it's like, just even going back to slavery, for them to be able to create codes for music, for them to, you know, get away. That's why I say art never dies, and it cannot be saturated, because we use it as a form of communication. We use it as a form of therapy and expression. And so it's like, those things, they don't go away. It's always going to be there. But what the problem is with the 21st century is social media, the media, and you know, people seeing these images of what an artist should be, and it's not what an artist is. And it changed so much just within, like y'all said, the 90s. That's like 20 years, like 20 years ago. That's and it's crazy. Like within 20 years, it went from substance to marketable. And it's like,
what could sell the fastest? What could get the most views? I was on that heavy, and I stopped that. I really don't care. Because
marketable, it does not mean that it is anything that is gonna last, and that's why we get so many one-hit wonders.
Some of the stuff is hot for right now, and it don't have the longevity that it needs.
Yeah,
really just
I feel like real art may not blow up right away, but it's definitely gonna last longer than something that blows up quicker. Because I can name like 20 songs that blew up on TikTok like a couple months ago, and you don't hear those songs anymore. If you hear someone else hearing that song, you're like, oh, that song's old. But you have someone that has like real art or a real song that was 20 years ago. That's not old. That's culture. You know, that's vintage. So,
and even art, like paintings and drawings, like these people die and then they become multimillionaires, and I'm like, don't let it be me, Lord. I want my million.
Give me my money now. Give me my flowers, Vaughn.
I want my money now.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy. But it's like those are the things that matters because you created something that is timeless. And I think that's what people need to hold on to when they're doing art is like, is your work going to be timeless?
It's
like,
patience,
is it going to stand the test of time? And is this going to be good in 20 and 30 years?
Yeah.
Because that's really, you know, that's how you still have Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, and people like that. Because it's good, 50 years later. And so, yeah, art, I could go all day about art. Because people just, it's for a moment with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I try to encourage not to just do it just to do it or just for fun, because it's not gonna last, and it's draining for the artist as well to constantly have to create art that isn't genuine. Because I create this song, but a month or two has passed. I gotta hurry up and create something else because that one's already
ran
dead.
its course.
How?
Yeah, started running its course.
Like no,
and burnout is real because I like. Trying to, and I had that problem too, trying to paint. I'm like, I had to pump out these paintings, and I'm like, I'm tired. Yeah. And then you can't sit and you can't visualize, you can't conceptualize, like you don't have anything left because you've overworked your creativity. And
that is fact. That's
even
true.
down to writing, because like poetry too, like I write all the time, and it's like
that's cool.
I don't have nothing. I have nothing, and it's like because I've written so much, or I've tried to force myself to do something when I'm not in a space to create, and it's like. Writer's block is real, and you get burned out, and that's why people get mad. Like, oh, these artists should be putting out music. I'm like, no, they shouldn't. They should be living life so that they have the material when they come back for you to buy. Because if you want albums back to back to back, they're not gonna be good.
It's gonna run out.
And they deserve to live life. And like you said, if you know a true artist, if you have no journey or you don't take time to figure out who you are, time and time again, it's going to happen. Like, you always reinvent yourself as an artist. If you're never on a journey, you don't need to be doing art because it's not going to make sense. And that's why we have mumble rap.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
One of my little favorite quotes that I've heard in recent memory is, creative people need time to sit around and not do nothing. Like, this is literally sit around and not do nothing. Like, this is just to kind of recuperate from whatever you got going on in this regular life, and then kind of prepare yourself for all the creativity, like stuff that you need to be doing.
Yeah, I tried that.
Yeah,
just making music videos back to back to back, and I burnt out quick. And it was like, dang, I didn't go outside, or I didn't, actually give myself some time to actually think of like creative ideas. So like what I do is like I'll probably sit 1 week and just crunch on like one video or like a piece of art or digital art or anything that I'm trying to do, and then the next month comes around and I'll be in the gym or I'll go outside or I'll read a lot more, and that's what gives me that break. It gives me that time to like be ready for the next week instead of just doing everything back to back just to get it out. And it's healthy for me, and it actually works instead of just trying to push everything out. It just makes a lot more sense. Yeah. And I don't get burnt out.
And it's refreshing.
So it is worth the wait,
I feel like after I have my baby, I'm going to have so much material. Because I'm going to be on maternity leave and I'm going to be like jotting everything down. Or like, and that's what it is. Like, even if you don't do those things in the moment, write them down. Because it's an idea. And so I journal. Like, I'm like, even if I don't have my journal, I'm like in my little notes, I'm like, okay, I can do this concept and that concept. And so it just takes time. Like, you have to be patient with yourselves. Last question. If you have any advice to give to any up and coming artists or people that that are creatives who don't have courage, what would you say to them?
That don't have courage
to just be themselves and not compare themselves, or just get in the game and do it.
Okay, this is good. That's a really good question. Okay, so my advice, whether you're starting out with music or you're doing music right now, I would say. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. There's a lot of artists. There's a lot of different creatives, right? But I do feel like there's a lot of artists and creatives who are clones, clones in the sense of trying to be like the next person. I would say the best route to go if you're trying to be a creative or an artist is to, instead of trying to be like the next person, to take some time away from looking at other artists and other creatives and really try to delve in who you are as a person. I think that that's really what it starts out with. Not even art necessarily or making music, but really going down deep back into your childhood. What were some of the problems in your childhood? What were some of the traumatic events that happened in your childhood that, you know, that are still affecting you to this day? What are some of the good experiences that you had that, you know, are impacting you into this day? Make that your art. So if you do, you know, digital art, if you do painting, create something. It doesn't necessarily have to be a dragon or a horse or whatever. Create something that, like my logo, for example. When you first see it, you're like, what the heck is this? But it's an eye with a cloud, and it's like a little monster on the top. Someone that first sees that won't be able to interpret that to being an actual realistic image. But me as a person, I can be able to explain what that means. It goes same thing with music. I hear some songs all the time, and I'm just like, I don't understand what this artist is talking about. Over time, like I said, like how you said, with longevity and always being who you are as a person, your true colors are going to show over time. So if you are an artist that is trying to replicate someone else, you're not going to last, and over time, the truth is going to be out, or you're going to end up being burnt out. So start right now, as a new artist or a new creative, working on being the best version of yourself, because right now you may not be right now your production might be trash, your lyrics may not be fully developed, your character in general may be very mature. But that's the beauty of a seed, is because seeds always start out very small, and they're just seeds, but a lot of those seeds turn to big trees that produce a lot of fruit. So look at yourself as like a seed, as a something fresh that needs to be built over time. You're going to have to take time, years, months, going through traumatic events. You're going to have to go through things. That's right. If I'm being honest, anyone want to ask me, how do I become a better creative? How do I become a better artist? How do I become a better videographer? You have to live life. And living life isn't on social media. Living life isn't constantly watching a whole bunch of different interviews from your favorite artist, or it's not trying to be like the next person. You have to live life and be able to project your real life experiences, whether that be good or bad, in your art. And that right there is the journey. So then you can look back 2 years from now and be like, oh my gosh, I remember when I created this. This is when I was going through X, Y, Z. Yeah. But you don't know, because that piece of art that you created could have impacted 1, 2, 5, 10, or even 100 different people. Yeah. So I say all this to say this: step away and segregate and segregate yourself from trying to be like the next person. You can be inspired. There's nothing wrong with being inspired. Inspiration is nothing more than just wanting to be comfortable with doing something. Like I said, Cobain inspires me to be comfortable with the route and the journey that I'm taking. But all in all, I know myself as a person, and I know that the problems that I went through in my life, I have this art to be able to project it and help the next person. Also, another thing, please make sure that your art and anything that you're creating is for a purpose to impact or help someone. I think that's the best way that you can help that's the best way to be able to make art or anything, is to help someone else. Yes, it could be your therapy, but at the same time, what if you're not going through problems? Have your art or your creativity to help the next person. That's what I use it for. Sometimes if I have creative block, or if I don't know what to create or something like that, I think about my friends or somebody else, or even the world problems that we're going through right now, and I use that as my energy to make art, and it never fails. So, yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Before we close out, where can people find you? What are your handles? What are your ads and stuff?
My Instagram is Jordonn Caldwell, JORDONN CALDWELL. And yeah, you should see all of my work and all of my other branches of my social media on there. So, yeah.
And as always, we can be found on Instagrams at storiesofthestreets_, Facebook at Stories of the Streets, and we can be emailed at storiesofthethastreets@gmail.com.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. Honestly, I love this.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.